Hello friends, I'm George, the nice smelling gentleman. Welcome back to the channel guys, I hope that all of you are doing well. If you see my face, that means it's time for your daily dose of some fragrance content. And today I have a very exciting news to share with you guys. It is exciting for me personally. And that's the fact that I think I found my new most favorite Dior Homme Intense clone. It comes from the brand of Paris Corner and it's called Camaro Homme Intense. And today I'm going to tell you why this turned out to be my new most favorite DHI clone. I'm not going to bother you too much about boxes and bottle designs about this one. This is how the box looks. I cannot find my box currently, so I'm just going to show you a photo of it. And then this is how the actual bottle looks of Camaro Homme Intense. As you can see, it carries somewhat of a similarity to the original fragrance. The cap is plastic, but it's a snug fit, and the packaging is pretty decent considering that this is a pretty cheap fragrance. And now let's talk about the scent of Camaro Homme Intense. I'm going to show you the sprayer in action. The sprayer is good, does its job, nothing spectacular, but still good enough. And now onto the scent. It opens up quite powdery, quite sweet, just like the original fragrance, although this lacks a bit of the powderiness of the original fragrance, but you still get quite a strong and powdery makeup-y note of iris in the opening. You get a hint of that pure sweetness just like the original one has. You also get some of the woodsy notes that the original fragrance has in the opening, and quite a bit of sweetness from a vanilla and cacao notes. The opening is very nice and powdery sweet opening. On the dry down, this becomes a little bit darker, a little bit more serious. You get slightly more sweetness. The vanilla note ramps up on the dry down. That cacao note also is stronger on the dry down. The whole scent becomes a little bit more woody on the dry down, slightly musky, and also I pick up a hint of a leather note, which is an interesting addition to the scent of Camaro Homme Intense. The original Dior Homme Intense doesn't have a leather note, but another fragrance from that line, Dior Homme Parfum, actually has a leather note. Now, Dior Homme Parfum has a very strong leather note. Camaro Homme Intense is in here. The leather note is not as strong, but it's definitely there, which adds an interesting dimension to the whole scent. All around, this is a very nicely done fragrance that's really blended super nicely. There's no harshness, no alcohol feel, absolutely nothing, and Paris Corner have done a great job with Camaro Homme Intense. When it comes to how close this fragrance is to the original, in the air smells very similar, almost identical, but up close there are a few minor differences. The main differences to my nose are that this feels slightly less powdery compared to Dior Homme Intense in the opening. You get more vanillic and cacao sweetness compared to the original instead of that pure sweetness. And then on the dry down, this feels a little bit more woody, feels sweeter, feels slightly darker compared to the original fragrance, and that leather note actually gives you some reminiscence of a Dior Homme Parfum. But again, in general, smells very close to the original Dior Homme Intense, especially in the air. Performance-wise, this turned out to be a really good performing fragrance. I've been getting somewhere between 8 and 9 hours of performance out of it, which is, in my books, a very good performing scent. Also, this tends to project quite nicely for the first up to 2 hours. Maybe it projects even a little bit stronger than the original fragrance, which tells you something. So performance-wise, Camaro Homme Intense turned out to be a strong performing fragrance. Price-wise, in Europe, this usually costs somewhere between the 20 to 30 euro mark. I personally picked up my bottle for something like 20 to 23 euros, which, given the scent quality, the performance, is a fantastic deal in my opinion. And versatility-wise, definitely a cold weather scent, definitely more of a nighttime scent, and definitely more of a dressed-up scent. And on to my final thoughts about Camaro Homme Intense from Paris Corner. As I said in the beginning of the video, I think I found my new most favorite clone of Dior Homme Intense. Up until recently, that crown was held by Cayenne Classic from Alwatanier. And to this day, I think that's an absolutely fantastic fragrance from the brand of Alwatanier. That's super close to Dior Homme Intense, to the current formulations of Dior Homme Intense. But for some reason, I just like Camaro Homme Intense a little bit more. The main reasons for that is the fact that this has stronger performance than Cayenne Classic, both when it comes to lasting power. This lasts longer than Cayenne Classic, also projects harder than Cayenne Classic, and because that introduction of a slight hint of a leather note on the dry down just brings this fragrance somewhat close to Dior Homme Parfum, which is my most favorite fragrance from the Dior Homme line, and in fact my all-time most favorite fragrance. And for those reasons, I think that Camaro Homme Intense is actually my new most favorite clone of Dior Homme Intense. So if you like Dior Homme Intense, if you're looking for a clone of Dior Homme Intense, I definitely think that Camaro Homme Intense deserves to be checked out. And your choice should be narrowed down to between Cayenne Classic and Camaro Homme Intense. So guys, in today's video I reviewed what turned out to be my new most favorite Dior Homme Intense clone from the brand of Paris corner, Camaro Homme Intense. I hope that you found this video interesting. If you did, give it a like, and I also hope that you're going to join me tomorrow for your daily dose of some fragrance content. And until then, stay safe and bye bye.